movie begins in a world where the melting of polar ice has resulted in all continents becoming submerged in water, forcing humans to adapt to their new environment. They now live in rugged, floating communities known as atolls, feeding on seafood and living off of trades. Plants, dirt, and soil cost more than gold, and people use their urine for cultivation due to lack of fresh water. In other words, this movie was the inspiration for Burning Man. Although the world is turned into an endless, giant ocean, many believe there still exists dry land somewhere. Several groups of people are looking for the said magical place in hopes of living a better life, but no one has been successful yet. We are introduced to a man named Mariner, who lives in a ramshackle boat that appears to be made of scrap. Boy, Costner sure loved showing off his ass in the 90s. He is seen urinating in a small vessel, and then pouring this urine into a machine that converts it into drinkable water. In the boat, he has planted a lime tree, a rare commodity in the world with no land. Mariner does fishing and collects reusable trash from the ocean for his survival. One afternoon, after a dive, he notices another boat approaching him. The man on the other boat tells Mariner about an atoll, where he obtained various supplies. He wants to trade them, but when Mariner learns that the man wants nothing in return, he begins to doubt him. He soon realizes that the man has stolen all of his limes. Simultaneously, a group of smokers arrives in their jet skis and begins attacking them. Despite the fact that Mariner's boat is made up of scrap, it is fast and he is able to escape, whereas the other man is apprehended by the smokers. Following this, Mariner arrives at the atoll, a floating city surrounded by high metal walls. At the gate, he says he's there to trade his belongings. Upon heading inside, he reveals that he has some genuine dirt to trade, which is extremely rare. Seeing this, the people of the atoll give him 124 chits in exchange for a jar of dirt. He then uses the same chits to purchase a tomato plant, which is full of dirt, and some other scraps from a woman named Helen. After the trade, he is returning to his boat when a family approaches him and asks him to impregnate their daughter, but he refuses to do so. Not accepting a woman makes them think he's nuts, so they order the locals to stop him. After he is apprehended, the locals discover Mariner is a mutant with gills behind his ears and webbed feet. Mariner tries to fight back, but he is captured under a fishing net. Later that night, Helen meets with an elderly man named Gregor and inquires as to when they can depart for dry land. Gregor informs that the direction for the dry land is tattooed on the back of a little girl named Enola, but he does not understand it. Gregor then considers asking Mariner about it, who is imprisoned inside a cage. Following this, he approaches Mariner and inquires about the mutation, but Mariner appears to be dismissive of him. Only when Gregor shows the picture of the tattoo does Mariner seem interested. In exchange for the information, Mariner wants him to open the cage, but Gregor is not allowed to do so. The next day, the local people decide to drown Mariner in the swamp pit by lowering his cage. But to his good fortune, simultaneously, an army of smokers led by Deacon arrives to attack the atoll. They are also looking for the mythical dry land and want to get to the little girl who holds the secret to its path. Soon after, the smokers encircle the atoll and begin shooting with large machine guns, killing several atoll residents. Eventually, the smokers with the jet skis enter the building via self-built ramps. Inside, Gregor fills a balloon and inadvertently flies away, abandoning Helen and Enola. Meanwhile, Mariner tries to break free, but his cage collapses, causing it to shrink gradually. Helen notices this and rushes to his aid. She agrees to assist him, but only if he takes her and Enola with him, to which he agrees. Following this, he tells the girls to open the gate until he starts his boat. Unfortunately, the gate becomes stuck, so Mariner uses the ship's rigging to fly up, open the gate, and jump back to the boat. Enola and Helen also board the boat and make their way out of atoll. On the other hand, the smoker with machine guns continues to fire in an undetermined direction, causing their leader Deacon's boat to explode. However, Deacon dives into the sea at that precise moment, saving his life. After the battle, the smokers continue looking for Enola, having found that she has the tattoo of the way to dry land. The smokers bind one of the locals and inquire about Enola. Fearful of death, the man reveals everything he knows, but he is killed anyway. As they sail away, Helen asks Mariner if he knows how to get to dry land, to which he responds in the affirmative. However, he advises her to throw Enola away before going there, because they have limited food and water. Helen tries to persuade him not to do so. She even offers herself in turn for the the little girl's life, but Mariner dismisses her. Men with gills and webbed feet are asexual. After a while, Mariner notices Enola drawing on his boat, which irritates him, and he throws her into the water. Helen panics, knowing that Enola is unable to swim, so she dives in to save her. Mariner appears to abandon the two in the water, but he later returns to pick them up. As soon as they get on the boat, the smokers arrive on a plane and begin shooting at them. While Mariner goes down to retrieve his weapon, Helen rushes towards the large spear gun and fires at it without Mariner's permission. As a result, the plane is now tethered to the boat by the metal rope and begins circling it, tangling it in a web. When Mariner notices this, he rushes up to cut the rope and untangle the boat, while the smokers do the same. A few moments later, the smokers are able to shoot the rope and fly away, whereas Mariner swings off and lands in the water. He is furious at Helen for destroying the boat, so he cuts both her and Enola's hair as punishment. Weird. On the other hand, Deacon guesses their location and deploys his men to find Enola. While sailing, they come across a drifter who admits to having some important papers and offers to trade them in exchange for Helen. Helen refuses, but Mariner agrees. The drifter takes Helen to his boat, while Mariner quickly examines the paper and discovers that it is useless. He quickly rushes into the drifter's boat and cancels the deal. This enrages the drifter. The drifter says he has a zero-return policy and tries to stab Mariner. A fight ensues and Mariner kills the drifter. In the next scene, Mariner demonstrates how he fishes. He dives into the water as bait, and soon a massive mutated fish appears. He then uses his weapon to kill the fish and prepares food for everyone. Mariner was rude to them at first, but now he appears to be nice to them as he starts talking to Enola. He allows Enola to draw